How's everyone doing? Welcome to another episode of the Big D podcast on Spunky Spectrum Sports Network. My name is Alex, and I have Dylan with me here as always. Don't forget, everyone, remember to like, subscribe, all the fun YouTube stuff. Dylan's got some amazing content coming out pretty much at least once a week, sometimes more than that. And it's a great podcast to check out. So thanks for being with us today, and we hope that you will be a listener in the future. But how you doing, Dylan? Welcome to another good show.
Thank you, Alex. And also, I've got two of my favorite Olympians joining me tonight. So it's not as the late Cubs shortstop Ernie Banks would say, let's play two.
All right. I like that. How Olympics just wrapped up. How about U.S. Taking over China on gold medals? That was nice to see at the very end.
I lost count on how many medals each country won. I'm like, what? I'm like, who won the rugby? Who won water polo? Who won volleyball? Who won all these medals? I'm like, how did we get all these medals?
Yeah, I know. There's so many different sports I had no idea that existed, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't know existed, but they were definitely fun to watch. But it'll definitely be cool that you can get the opportunity to talk to a couple Olympians and really get some good insight from what it's like over there.
Okay, Alex, I think it's time we talk about the one sport you and I agree on the most.
I like to do that.
The National Football League.
Yes, sir. We are officially underway on the 2021 season of the National Football League. You know, the Steelers and Cowboys started it off at the Hall of Fame game. And, it's one of the most exciting times of the year when football season's getting started. My Miami Dolphins have a game this weekend. I mean, it's the longest off season in sports, it seems like, is finally over. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see those jerseys on the field, see these players on the field, and really get going to get closer and closer to the regular season.
Players on the field this year. I think 2021 is a big season for second year for Tua, because if you look at it, Miami's got a lot more expectation on them than they did last year. I mean, a lot of people are picking Miami to make the playoffs, and Miami has gone all in on its star. I mean, they added Will Fuller, they added Jalen Waddle with the sixth pick in the draft. I mean, we get to see this year with a full off season, full training camp, to another year off the hip injury, whether he's maturing into a stud or whimpering under the pressure.
Yeah. I definitely, as unbiased as I can possibly be, which is not very unbiased at all, or is not very biased at all. I'm sorry. Tua, like you said, I think the storyline for a big storyline in the NFL season this year is definitely going to be those year two quarterbacks and who steps up, who improves, and maybe who takes a little bit of a sophomore slump. But I definitely think, Tua, just looking at the facts, you come into your rookie year with no preseason, with a very, very limited offseason workout program, coming off of a hip injury. And when you join the team, that offense was built to be a Ryan Fitzpatrick offense. A lot of Dolphins fans didn't even want to see Tua play last year. They wanted them to sit behind Fitzpatrick the whole year. Some people wanted them to bring him in at some point in the season, me included. But that offense was set up for Fitz, and coming in with Chan Gailey at the helm of the offense, I don't think he was quite able to use Tua to his strengths and to the strength of that offense. So I'm very excited to see Tua come in. He's been working this offseason. He's gotten a lot bigger. And early reports from training camp are that he is looking sharp. He is improved as well or even better than the beat writers could have hoped for. So I think there's going to be big things from the Hawaiian gunslinger down there in Miami.
Do you worry that Tua potentially won't face a lot of exotic defenses, and whether Miami's got a great defense, but whether in training camp or in these preseason games because Tua might be in for a series or two here and there, maybe a little more in another game, but you worry that Tua may not see an exotic blitz scheme until week one against New England.
Yeah, I mean that's always definitely something to consider. But you got to think. I mean, he had a winning record last year without any preseason and without really seeing any uh, legitimate defensive strategy until. I mean, I'm not even going to count the last couple plays of the Jets game, but then the game after that, when he really took control of the team. So, the number one thing too, what was great at last year was if you look at the numbers, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he had his most success while facing the blitz. So, obviously. Every team's going to have different blitz packages. They're going to be reworked from last season. It's going to be different looks that he hasn't seen before, or potentially hasn't seen before, or at least at the speed of the NFL level. But I mean, picking up the blitz is one of the best was one of the best things he was doing last year, and I think with a full off season of preparation and recovery, he's just gonna. My main worry, my main worry for two is the offensive line. They had a joint practice with the Bears today. They play them Saturday afternoon. And a lot of things I was seeing from the reporters was that the Dolphins' offensive line, although obviously the Bears have a pretty strong defensive front, the offensive line wasn't doing too much to help Tua. So it's still early, but that more it would be Tua's support up front than his ability to pick up the blitzes and to really be able to thrive under pressure is what I'm a little more worried about.
I'm glad you mentioned the offensive line because for Tua, a lot like Drew Brees, I think he needs a good offensive line because Tua's not going to escape out the pocket. He's more of that old school pocket pass, a lot like Drew Brees, Tom Brady. He's not going to run around like Lamar Jackson, Patrick
Right.
Mahomes, Russell Wilson. He's going to be more that pocket passer. Plus, Tua, not being the tallest guy, can't really see over defenders like some of these big quarterbacks can.
Right. And that's a good point. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily that Tua is immobile, though. I mean, yes, he is more designed as a pocket passer. He's an accurate quarterback. He likes to be in a comfortable situation in the pocket to where he can really put the ball to a dot where he wants it to be. But I mean, we've seen, especially if you look at the Cardinals game. Obviously, there's not too much of tape on him. I mean, he played a decent amount of games, but I don't think the Tua we saw last year is really the real Tua. So it's hard for me to take too much of that. But when he did, I mean, when he did shine, you look in that Cardinals game, he had at least two, maybe even more clutch third down runs where he escaped from the pocket. One, he juked out Budda Baker, who's one of the best defensive players in the league, and was able to pick up the first down, extend some drives, and end up winning that game. So, I do agree that he definitely will prefer to be in the center of the pocket and have the most comfortable throwing position for him. But I don't think that if it comes that he needs to escape the pocket or move up in the pocket, I think he's a little underrated in that sense.
You're saying he might be sneaky athletic or just athletic?
Those are all buzzwords that analysts like to use and everything. I mean, the kid's athletic. He knows how to move. He's a smart quarterback, and I'm fully confident in his ability to either tuck the ball and run, throw it out of bounds, or try and make a throw with the pressure coming on him.
How much do you think we'll see Tua play in the preseason? Because there have been questions. I mean, Sean McVay's not played the starters in the preseason, but yet we've seen starters play a quarter, a half, maybe in the second half a little bit. How much do you think we'll see Tua play, even with just 3 preseason games now?
Yeah, it's definitely different this year because obviously we've made the move to the 17-game regular season, 3-game preseason. It always seemed to be preseason always kind of seemed to have the same cadence. It was starters barely, if anything, in the first game, give them a little bit more in the second game. Third game, you might see them for a half or even maybe a little bit more than a half if you're trying to get guys back into the speed of a regular football game. And then the fourth game, you barely see the starters. With this 3-game schedule, it is going to be interesting to see quite how that timing and how many reps they do get. You know, I think this first game they'll probably give him a couple drives. I mean, maybe 2, maybe 3 drives. I don't think that they want him, under fire too much because obviously he's had a full season recovered from that hip, but you still don't want to put your quarterback in any unnecessary danger, especially in preseason. But I think he is going to get some good reps. I mean, I think especially as preseason goes on, that second and third game, you might see him in there for a little bit longer than some of the more veteran quarterbacks, just because he hasn't had that preseason experience, and you can learn a lot in preseason. Missing out on preseason last year, it's definitely a way to get obviously more in-game chemistry and with your receivers and with your running backs and just with everyone on that offensive front. But it's more time that you get to see the NFL on real speed. And I think as a second-year quarterback, everyone hears about the sophomore slumps. And Chris Greer, not Chris Greer. I'm talking about Brian Flores. Brian Flores is definitely going to want to have him as comfortable as possible to ensure he has the most success this year.
Well, one good bit of news the Dolphins got with their star cornerback Xavien Howard is by restructuring his deal. Howard didn't hold out and is now installed in Miami. I'm sure you all will leave with that.
Yeah, you're telling me. Oh my gosh, that was, obviously that was a storyline that's been going on throughout most of the offseason, and oh boy, that was a tough one for a lot of Dolphins fans. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, with Xavien Howard, the Miami Dolphins have had a history of not paying their elite players. I mean, obviously, you see guys like Minkah Fitzpatrick. He was a little unhappy. They traded him out. You saw a guy like Jarvis Landry, a little unhappy, traded him out. It seems like whenever Miami has a star player and something slightly goes wrong, it seems like more often than not, they'd be more willing to get him out of there, worry about culture, and let someone else deal with him. But, with
Brandon Marshall too.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But, with Xavien Howard, it's not like he was pissed off at Brian Flores. It's not like he wasn't happy with his teammates. It's not like he didn't enjoy the culture of the locker room. It was just, he led the league in interceptions the last 2 years. The year before that, he was tied for the most. And he obviously, when he signed that contract, he was the number 1 paid cornerback in the league. However, times change. He's played 2 great seasons since then, even though he did miss a couple games the year before. But Byron Jones comes in and he has a slightly higher contract than Xavien Howard. And I don't really blame Xavien Howard for wanting at least to be the number 1 corner on the team, because he deserves it. He's the best corner on the team. And, people say that it might set a bad precedent for the Dolphins, if they pay Xavien Howard, what's to say that any player who wants more money is just going to hold out until they get more money? Well, if you're the number 1 player in the league or top 3 player in the league at your position, and you're leading the league in very important stats at your position, sure, you get a pay bump. I mean, if Tua Tagovailoa, with 2 years left in his contract, throws for the most passing yards and touchdowns in the NFL, and he wants a raise, I mean, you should probably give him the raise. You got to keep your studs, in my opinion. And, I think he was just too crucial to that defense to let him go for a couple incentive bonuses.
I mean, look at what we've seen with quarterbacks. I mean, the Bills locked up Josh Allen. I mean, Lord knows what's happening in Green Bay or Seattle, but I think, with certain stars, I think it makes sense to keep them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. But, I want to get you in a little bit on this. The one thing about the Dolphins is, they're a pretty young team. I mean, last year, Ryan Fitzpatrick was the only player over 30 years old other than Kyle Van Noy. Both of them are gone. I mean, this is a young Dolphins team, and it seems like that they have the potential with a strong coach and a young core to be poised for the future. And I just want to know, any young Dolphins players that you're interested in looking at this year?
Well, let's see. We talked about one Alabama player. How about another one, Jalen Waddle?
Yeah, I had a feeling you might bring him up. Realistically, how do you see him fit in this Dolphins offense?
I can't wait to see Tua throw 9 routes to Waddle.
Yeah,
and a healthy Will Fuller once he comes back from his week 1 suspension. But
right.
I mean, trust me, I watched a lot of college football, watched a lot of Alabama. Jalen Waddle can absolutely fly, and he may be big in the return game, which is saying something because Shaquem Grant.
Yeah.
The
We've had
kid,
our ups and downs with Jakeem Grant receiving punts and everything. So
yeah. Although last year Miami's special teams unit might have won you a couple games. I mean,
yeah,
look at the Rams game.
yeah, yeah.
Look at that game where I'm not even sure Tua reached midfield.
Yeah, I know. Plus, I mean, you got to mention Jason Sanders, who's probably top three at least top five kicker in the NFL right now.
I mean, how many kickers would you take over Jason Sanders right now? Maybe Justin Tucker.
Yeah, that sounds about it to me, honestly.
How many else would you take? How many else would you?
Justin Tucker. I mean, honestly, it's. I'm trying to think. I haven't been thinking about kickers too much lately.
Except for you taking for your
Yeah.
fantasy team, right?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, Younghoe Koo who started badly, but obviously, he had some improvements last year. But I mean, I'm not taking him over Sanders. I mean, Justin Tucker seems like one of the only guys who is consistently at the top of the game, at least right now. Because I mean, I'm going with Sanders. I mean, call it bias or whatever, but I mean, maybe Tucker over Sanders, but other than that, there's not really many others.
Okay, okay. Back to Jalen Waddle, please.
Right.
Well, I'm not sure how much you got to see of him in college because I'm not sure how much your college football pedigree is like mine. But do you think that I mean, Waddle didn't have, I mean, Waddle was really good when he stayed healthy. The problem was he always seemed to dealt with leg injuries. And guess what this NFL season is compared to college football? Longer.
Yep. I mean, he obviously injuries are a concern with any player that you bring in, especially those who have had history with injuries. That's really primarily going to be up to him and making sure that he's in the prime shape that he can be in. He's prepared physically for every game. It's simple, even as simply as coming down to drinking water, stretching. Like, you don't want to cramp up and take an awkward step and end up rolling something, or. But I mean, at the end of the day, injury prone players to me aren't really a thing. I mean, an injury can happen on any play at any time to any player. Uh, I mean, as far as Jalen Waddle goes, obviously, I hope he stays healthy. Obviously, I am expecting him to stay healthy, but injuries can happen to any player at any time. So I'm not really going to put too much weight into Jalen Waddle's injury history. Obviously, it might be a little blind coming from me, but the kid's electric. I mean, I remember coming into this draft knowing that Miami needed to draft an asset for Tua, whether it was going to be Kyle Pitts, whether it was going to be Jamar Chase. Devonta Smith was a really popular choice for Dolphins fans at the very beginning of the offseason after he won the Heisman Trophy. And, Jalen Waddle was honestly the guy I probably was informed the least about. I'd seen a lot of Jamar Chase. Everyone always talks about his relationship with Burrow and all that. And obviously, I mean, I grew up a Gators fan, so I saw a lot of Kyle Pitts and Devonta Smith. He played that last year, and Jalen Waddle missing that last year subbed the championship game where he was practically playing on one leg. Jalen was the guy who I definitely was a little wary about the most just because of my lack of knowledge on him. However, I will say post-draft, Jalen Waddle is the guy I'm most excited about. And yes, I'm a Dolphins fan. Yes, I'm going to say that. But I mean, you really just look at his game-changing ability. I mean, there was a point in his college career where his touchdown average, the yards average on his touchdown receptions were 44 plus. I mean, the fact that Tua can just hit him on a quick slant or hit him on a 9 route or hit him on a deep post across the middle, if you have even a yard of separation, which we know he can get, I mean, he can beat these guys. He can beat these corners to the pylon. He can beat these corners and safeties down the center of the field. And I think it's going to be such a huge asset to Tua to have a guy who can get off the line, who can create separation, and then do something with the ball after he catches it. I mean, it's going to be really exciting to watch him play this year.
And by the way, Dolphin fans are going to like this. 2019 Iron Bowl against Auburn. This is Jalen Waddle's stat line for that game with Mac Jones as quarterback.
Yeah.
4 catches, 98 yards, 3 touchdowns as a receiver. As a kick returner, he only scored a 98-yard kickoff return. By my calculation, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns in the Iron Bowl. Pretty big game. Pretty big game.
I'm hoping he wasn't faced up against Noah Igbenogany in that game. I'm not sure. He might have been. But, it's all right. We re-signed Xavien Howard. So, now Noah Igbenogany can still play in that third cornerback role. But, Dolphins fans, everyone I've seen, everyone I've talked to is ecstatic about the Waddle pick. I mean, even as great as that pick was, obviously we needed the help. We needed some speed on that offense. Bringing Will Fuller in was definitely proof of that. But that second first-round pick, man, Jaylen Phillips is going. I tell you what, I just don't want to say it because it almost sounds sacrilegious to say it.
No, you're not going to say. You're not going to call him Jason Taylor 2.0.
Give me Jason Taylor 2.0, please and thank you. I mean, the man is a behemoth. I was at training camp actually a week or two ago, and it's just seeing him stand next to these D linemen or an offensive lineman, these big guys, and not only he's as big as them, but he's jacked. I mean, if he can, another guy where obviously you hope he can stay healthy, and obviously you draft him assuming he will be healthy. But I mean, if that man can stay healthy, you sign me up. Let me get the odds for him on Defensive Rookie of the Year because. I really do think he's one of the most elite pass rushers in this draft class, and he can really, when you're playing against a quarterback like Josh Allen twice a year, you're really going to need a big guy on that defensive front to really be able to stop him and shut him down. So I think those first 2 picks were expert picks by Chris Greer and company.
By the way, on one of the sites I'm looking at, Jaylen Phillips is plus 700 to win Defensive Player. The Defensive Rookie, the only Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys has got a higher odds at plus 550.
All right, you heard it here. Hammer Jaylen Phillips for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Make some money.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, right.
Maybe. How about Jaylen for Offensive Rookie of the Year and Jaylen for Defensive Rookie of the Year?
I mean, you're talking dirty to me now, Dylan. I mean, come on. No, but
although I'm not saying this, there might be a guy just up the road who challenges for Offensive Rookie of the Year, but we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, and we will talk about that maybe with British accents coming up in week 6. But
oh no,
one guy I do want to really shout out really quick on this Dolphins offense that I think is going to be a player that people are going to be surprised about for sure. I guarantee you that Albert Wilson will be one of the most underrated I don't know about fantasy because it's hard for me with the Dolphins and fantasy, but one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL this year. I mean, everything I've been seeing from Travis Wingfield, the Dolphins main beat reporter, and just Omar Kelly, all those guys. Albert Wilson has been having a heck of a camp. His chemistry with Tua is on point. And if this receiver room can stay healthy, it is going to be very dangerous because Devontae Parker, even Preston Williams, who looked good when he was on the field last year as the big guys, Will Fuller, I'm a little worried about his health just because he hasn't really been able to be practicing much. I mean, at least Jalen Waddle's been on the practice field, but obviously then Jalen Waddle and Albert Wilson. If these guys stay healthy, that is going to be a scary receiver room, and I don't think a lot of people necessarily have that room in the highest regard around the NFL. But I'm telling you right now, Albert Wilson's going to be a guy this year.
I don't know. I was bringing the boldness to this show. I thought you bring in the boldness today.
I'll tell you what, man. I've been keeping my eye on him, and he just seems to be a guy who's been making play after play in training camp. And if he can transfer that to the regular season, he was good for us before the holdout last year, or not the holdout, but he opted out for COVID last year. And I mean, he was a great little asset for us the year before that. I mean, everyone remembers the high five game against the Raiders where uh, he had a nice little high five walking into the end zone after they completely ran past that Raiders defense. But I mean, he's not quite the youngest guy, but he's definitely a guy I think that defensive backs and linebackers, if he's in the slot, need to keep a very close eye on because those two slants, I mean, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, and those are great guys to get the ball to.
Okay, and lately I've been doing a lot of trivia in my episodes, and I've got one involving a famous Dolphin opening day win.
Okay.
Do you remember Miami's last opening day win?
The last Miami
And
Dolphins.
what was unique about it?
It wasn't. Was that game opening day? It might have been. I think it was the Tennessee Titans game.
Nope.
No, I was thinking about that game that the hurricane came through and it they had a 4-hour break. Let me think. I know we lost last year opening day. We lost to Seattle a couple years back on opening day, which we should have won that game. I really thought it was that Tennessee game.
Hold on.
Was it Buffalo?
No, actually, I think it was. I think it was Tennessee because that was the game. That was the game where one of the Titans tight end tore his Achilles, and you won. And you won that game.
Yeah. All right. Did I stump the trivia master? Wait, what's going on here? I just remember the only reason why I really remember that game is because I mean, obviously, I'm a fan. The week one is the most exciting week of the NFL year. But I had a friend who went at that game, and I think it was in the middle of a hurricane, and there was like a 4-hour time delay or game delay in that game, and it was one of the longest games in NFL history. But I know we won it.
I think it was a weather delay. It wasn't a hurricane. Trust me. Trust me. We've got enough hurricanes.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Speaking of hurricanes, do you remember do you remember what team the Dolphins beat in their 2017 opener? And what was unique about that game?
2017. Sounds about the time we played the Seahawks and lost to Russell Wilson at the end of the game, but that must have been a different year because I know we lost that game.
I think that was 2016.
Okay. 2017, year after that. I can't remember that first game of the year.
I'll give you a hint. Hurricane Irma erased everyone's plans in Florida.
So I was talking about hurricanes. We end up with hurricanes. I know we've played New England on the first. Was it New England?
I'll give you a hint. Jay Cutler was the starting quarterback.
Oh God, I've put that year out of my. I've blocked that year out. I can't remember.
You beat the Chargers 19-17. I think LA missed a field goal at the end of that game.
Yep, you are right, and I'm pretty sure we had a couple picks on Philip Rivers in that game too, which really helped us.
I don't think you.
Maybe not.
No, Rivers was 31, 39, 331, one touchdown, no pick.
Okay, must have been a different time. It seems like every time we play the Chargers, we get a couple.
Actually, that was a turnover-free game.
There you go.
Turnover-free game, which is saying something for Philip Rivers.
Yeah, honestly.
But that was week 2, 2017, because the Bucks-Dolphins game for week 1 was postponed because Hurricane Irma was literally hitting everyone in Florida.
I gotcha. I actually not that I'm trying to save myself or anything, but I actually misunderstood your question. I was thinking the last time that they won week 1, like they won their opening game. But you know that I don't think I would have been able to pull it up anyway. But I definitely remember it now that you mentioned that.
Yeah, come on. Last couple of times Miami's won its opening day game have been sort of affected by weather.
Yeah.
It'd be hurricanes or lightning. We get plenty of both in Florida.
Yes, we do. But, I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. I'm definitely excited for opening week this year. We got New England again. We played New England week 1 last year, and we lost that game, and we really shouldn't have. And I'm definitely excited to see I like playing New England again week one because, it's a division game. You get that out of the way. You get one of those division games out of the way early. And I'm not scared of Cam Newton. I'll tell you what. I'm not scared of Mac Jones either. So I'm really excited to see that week one. And I really do think Miami's going to come out on top on that one.
Ooh, somebody bringing the boldness again. So thanks for hopping on, Alex, and we wish your Dolphins well, and we can't wait to have a weekly conversation when the season really gets going in September.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dylan. Always a pleasure to be here. And good luck to your Jaguars as well. We'll be talking about them, I'm sure, coming up pretty soon. But, it's the happiest time of the year. It's NFL season. I can't wait.